Good morning. Lord Kaz here. How you doing? Well, as I progress through this series of videos for returners and newcomers to the SCA, it is I feel in a way my duty to make sure that I cover as many bases as possible. Now, this is a video that will be primarily for heavy fighters because this is a video about helmets, specifically the care and proper feeding of your helmet, because your helmet is going to be your new best friend. And the reason I say that your helmet is going to be your new best friend is because whereas the SCA is very specific, they want to prevent head injuries. I tend to explain it to people a little bit different. And the way that I explain it is that your helmet prevents brain damage. And I kind of use that to emphasize how important the helmet is in a heavy fighter's kit. Once upon a time, the minimum gauge requirement was 16. In my copy of the Known World Handbook, I didn't really see changes in that, or I may have missed them. But reading around, it seems like most marshals won't approve anything now that's less than 14, which is good because my first helmet was a hand-me-down that was a bunch of 16 gauge plates of steel literally welded and riveted together. That was really, I think they were nice letting me fight with it because it it was bad. That's all I'll say. It was bad. But I'm older, I'm wiser, and I'm more injured than I was at that time when I was playing before. A lot more white hair. This is I'm not gonna say it's a recent addition, but I didn't have it before. So what I want to do today is have a little bit of a discussion about helmets and head protection. Now, one of the things that I will say is you can see them next to me here. I have two helmets. One, I'll be right back because I left the grill in the other room. Oopsie. All right, so I grabbed a couple things to show you. The helmet is it's going to protect you from brain damage, which is why it's so important. Now, if you're a returner and you're getting back into heavy combat, well, you already know what to look for. You know the general feel that the helmet should have. You know that you're going to be getting hit in the head a lot. If you're returning, chances are you haven't fought for a while. So my guess is the first few fighter practices are going to be fairly abysmal. So that being said, how do you find a good helmet? If you're a newcomer, I am going to recommend that you start by contacting your local chapter. Again, we had a little video earlier about how to find your local chapter. But find your local chapter, go there and check out their loaner armor and look at the helmets that other people are wearing. Because there are a variety of different types and styles of helmets. You have, and I'm just going to rattle some names off to you. And each one of these has a different period and a different locality, so to speak. So just real quick, the ones off the top of my head: Bassinet, Burgonet, Closed Helm, Saleh, Barbute, and Lobster Pot, which is one of the ones I love because it was used by the Polish Hussars. That was a helmet that was actually derived from Ottoman helms. So there's a whole bunch of different helms, and then there's fairly generic helms. So if you're new, go to fighter practice, check it out, decide what you think you would like to wear. I would recommend probably talking with your fighters at your local community. Find out where they got their helms, who made them, what they like about them. If they allow you, try them on. Try on the loaner helm. See what's available. Now, if you're experienced and you're just coming back into this, like I said, you know what you're looking for. Now, one of the dead giveaways to a SCA specific helm is this guy right here. Because if it's not a closed face, they're going to have a grill on them. Now, This helmet started off life as an eBay purchase. Why did I buy it? Um, I did a search for metal helmet. First search I put on eBay for a helmet, and a ad came up that described this as a heavy black metal helmet with face guard, purchased from an estate sale. That's all I know about it. And that's like literally what the listing said. No refunds. I bought this at an estate sale, and by the way, it's metal, it's heavy, and there was a bunch of martial arts stuff involved, and I don't know what this is, so I'm going to sell it for $40. If you're like me, well, this was originally painted black, and I painted it. I made it into something that my persona would potentially wear. It had a leather band that went around it to keep that nice and tucked in. But this is a classic spun top helmet. The reason you can tell that is because if you look on top, there's kind of a divot, and there's also a little pinprick hole. And that pinprick hole is indicative of where the device that holds the round piece of steel was centered, and when it spun around, then it was eventually formed into this nice little spun, this little spun top. If you look, it's almost completely circular with a little bit of an elongation towards the front and the back. It has this nice little fleur here, and that's what holds this, basically anchors it to the helmet. And then there's a leather strap. What I'm going to do, since I refurbished, is I'm going to create two individual straps, place buckles probably right about here, straps, bang, done. The holes here on the sides, those are for mounting your chin strap. Now, when you get a brand new helmet or a secondhand one, the first thing you want to do is make it yours. So this, I primed it, everything, and then I painted it. So yeah, I purchased this for about $40. I think it was even free shipping. I think it was the flat 40. So I was excited because I've got a halfway decent helmet to fight in. That made me happy. So when I finally got it, I unboxed it. I had a video of the unboxing, but it got corrupted, so I no longer have a video of the unboxing. Well, sanded it, primed it, painted it, and then put a clear coat of a satin finish over it. Now, the reason why I put the satin finish on it is because not a whole lot of glossy paint in medieval times. Not horribly glossy. I mean, it was some gloss, so that's why I used the satin sheen. Ooh, you can't really see it, but you might get a little bit of an idea. Now, one of the things you need to do with your helmet as well is pad it. Because number one, if you don't, the metal is going to be right about here on your eyeballs. And number two, it's going to hurt. It's going to be like you're living inside of a bell. So I padded it. Now, this is a floor mat. I wanted to use the EVA plastic or rubber foam type of thing. And I was trying to find sheets online, and people out of their damn minds. They wanted like $20 for a 24 by 12 sheet. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So one of the things that the SCA teaches you is, I'm not going to say how to be cheap, how to be frugal. I think frugal is a good word. So what I did was, to make this pattern, I went to my local big box store, and I was on a mission. And what that mission was to find something made out of the foam that I wanted to use. And what I found, and I'm going to recommend this because, oh my God, is it easy to work with, is this. You may recognize as one of those foam panels you put either in your garage, your workroom, or your child's room. And this is how I laid out my padding. So I knew that the front was going to be shorter because that's where my face is. So I made little stubby fingers, And then the sides and back, where my ears and the back of my head are, I made longer. Now, I had to do some trimming when I put it in the helmet, but overall, what you see there is exactly what you see here. You see the fingers? Okay. How did I affix this? That big mystery can be solved with Gorilla Glue. I sprayed the crap out of it. Now, when I first put it on, the helm was still down to here. So I added a larger disc. I'm trying to get the light on that. But I added this larger disc here. And I added some more stuff around the edges in the back to keep it a little more stable. And so now when I put it on my head, it fits properly. Of course, my glasses are kind of messed up. Now, if you wear glasses, boop, boop, there we go. If you wear glasses, you probably want to either not wear them in combat or get some goggles. Because if you need your glasses to see, these are not going to work well once you put on this guy here. Let's try this now. This will be the first time I've ever tried this without a mirror in front of me. There we go. So there you go. You get the idea. I am now, I'm not going to say bulletproof because I'm sure a bullet would go right through this, but at least now I am to SCA standards. Now, this helmet, it fits a little bit loose, but that's okay. And the reason why that's okay is because I use something called an arming cap. Now, what is an arming cap? An arming cap is basically a gambeson for your head. Typically, they were first being used. And again, if I have any armor geeks who are like down on the history of this, but as far as I can tell, how's that? They burst into wide use with the advent of chainmail. Because unless you're bald, chainmail is going to grab you. If you got hair, it's going to fall in love with your beard and your hair, and every time you put it on and take it off, you're going to be, pulling stuff out. So they started doing arming caps for the hair. Basically, it's a man bonnet made out of a padded material. So the looseness in that helmet is going to go away once I get that and I install a chin strap. Now, I have not put a chin strap in, but that's what $40 will get you on eBay if you know what to look for. Now, you see this shiny thing next to me. I've been told by its previous owner that it will never respect me. But that's okay, because it doesn't need to respect me because I'll be pretty. Once you get into the SCA and you've got your first set of armor, you start walking around and you see people with just some cool shit. I mean, this guy walks by, he's got a stainless helm and it's a Saleh, the Bevor. Yeah. Other guys who are doing the Roman personas, they're coming in with freaking like Lorica segmentata and they got a horsehair. This is the stuff that as a new member, you're going to be like, I want one of those someday. And then you find out the price of them. And your someday gets kind of maybe kicked out a little bit further. When I was first playing, your basic munitions grade helm, like the one I got for $40, they run about $125, or $150. Long time ago. I've looked around. It looks like your basic helms from known and reputable armorers are going to run you right around $250 to $300. So keep that in mind. But it's a big investment. Why? When I ask you why in this video, the correct answer is going to be brain damage. Just to hammer it home. So anyway, I digress. So after I bought that helmet, I was on Reddit, the SCA, /SCA, and I had posted a question about helmets. And I received a mysterious message from someone that simply asked the question, how do you feel about a Sutton Hoo? Now, for those of you that don't know, a Sutton Hoo, what that's referring to is there was a archaeological dig that was started off by an amateur archaeologist in an area in southern England that is Sutton Hoo. Now, it was a Anglo-Saxon graveyard, and what he found there, well, it was quickly brought to the attention of the British archaeological authorities because what he found was one of the greatest finds in archaeological history. And this graveyard was full of important people. And one of those people, I'm going to see if I can do this because let me try something here. This is going to be new and exciting or not. All right. Let's do that. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm looking up a picture of the Sutton Hoo. Sutton Hoo. Hoo. Gotta love that. All right. So Sutton Hoo. Yes. I mean, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to minimize myself and I'm going to maximize the screen so we can take this journey together. Wouldn't that be cool? So anyway, whoa, God, oh, there we go, much better. Wow. All right, so anyway, here's pictures of oh, and isn't it pretty? Now these mounds you see here are burial mounds. Okay, let's see if we can we make that bigger? I guess not. Very beautiful. Now this is here because this is maybe it's a sculpture of what was found at Sutton Hoo. There was a ship burial. This is the process of reconstructing the helmet. These were gold and brass inlays across the eyes. I wish I can get this larger. Across the top of the eyes, they have, and I don't remember, periodotes? Periodotes? Back. I don't remember. Period. Nope, definitely not that. I know how to do this. Let's check out. See, we're learning together because I don't have this memorized like some people would. Jewels in Sutton Hoo Helm. Garnets. Yes, garnets. Now, the interesting thing about this, and it doesn't cover it here. All right, eyebrows. Square garnets are inlaid into the upper edges of the eyebrows, and they extend outwards to gilded boar's head at the end. The eyebrows may also have functioned as wings, and the boar's heads may have represented the bodies of the wings. Okay, AI, sometimes it makes no sense. What they don't talk about, and this is what I found fascinating. Recently, a paper has been done about Sutton Hoo, and apparently there's evidence that it is an Odin mask. Now, what is an Odin mask? Well, an Odin mask is a mask of the god Odin. See how that works? But the evidence that was presented was actually fairly interesting. And what the evidence was is that Odin was known to have one eye. And many of the representations of the god Odin were one-eyed. They had a variation within the eye. Now, here's the fun part. These are all pictures of the Sutton Hoo helm. Now, the restored Sutton Hoo helm, that's what it looks like. Now, the thing about the garnets over the eyes, Odin lost his left eye, kept his right eye. Big deal, you say. Well, the Sutton Hoo helm has gold inlaid underneath the garnets in the right eyebrow. That causes them to reflect. and be animated and full of life. The left eyebrow has no gold foil underneath the garnets, making them appear dim. All of the other eyes on this helmet, the eyes of the serpents, the eyes of the boars, they match suit when oriented and looked at. The right eye has a foil under it and the left eye does not, indicating blindness in the left eye. So I thought that was a very compelling argument for the Sutton Hoo to be the face of Odin. Now, this is a simple replica. It doesn't even give the construction. All it does is tell you how big it is. You're not supposed to wear this because you will break it. I mean, beautiful, beautiful reconstruction. We're looking at it, just absolutely gorgeous. But if you look at that work, you look at that brass work on it, you see the arch coming over, you see the heads of the dragons. And I mean, just look at that guy right there. Just look at him. Isn't he gorgeous? You got that dragon right there. That's so pretty. Now, in fact, I'm just going to do this. Make it even bigger. Look at that dragon. He got silver teeth. He got a garnet eyes. You look at the back of it. Same thing. You've got that beautiful, beautiful setup here in every panel. I mean, this is a ritual helmet, right? So he said, "What do you feel about Sutton Hoo?" Yeah, I'm going back already. And I said, "Yeah, I mean, I'd love to look at one." And then he sent me pictures. All I can say was my first thought was, I'm not going to be able to afford this. Because what I was looking at was an image of a custom helm. And when I say custom, I don't know if I've ever seen a more custom helm in my life. To commission this, I can't even fathom what it would cost today. And he bought it, what was it, Mike? 20 years ago? 2006? 18 years ago, he bought this. He bought it from a duke. And it, at one point, had 3 clusters on it. So that means he was king 3 times. So he was a badass in the SCA. So I see this picture, and I'm just like, well, let me tell him what my budget is and see how far off I am. So I did, and he gave me a price, and his price was under my budget. Before my brain was able to process this, my fingers had already typed out deal. Where do I send the money? Why was this my reaction? Because that helm I was talking about earlier, that helm that you see and yet you dream of owning someday, it's right here next to me. Because I will put it this way. My budget was $500. It was under budget. And I'm going to show you this. And I showed you the original Sutton Hoo to give you an appreciation. I want you to look at, if we got it, here we go, nice close up. Do you see? Oh yeah, you can't see where I'm pointing, can you? I'm just gonna wave my little guy around here. But do you see the level of detail? Each of these panels is a story panel. Each of these panels, look at this. I mean, this is phenomenal. This is the artwork of the Anglo-Saxons. This is heavy duty shit. Now, why am I making a big deal of this? Well, I'll tell you why. Because that is the Sutton Hoo. And wait for it. This is my Sutton Hoo. This is the helmet that I picked up. Now, I want you to understand something. This is all solid brass. All of it. The only thing that it doesn't have are the garnets in place over the eyes and in the heads here. But everything else, you'll notice the nose. Well, look at the nose, the eyebrows. This is solid brass work all the way around. And it is absolutely phenomenal. Now, why do I bring up the panels? Well, I don't know if I could do it justice, and I don't think I can. But we'll talk about this here in a minute. If you look at these panels, all the markings you see on the helm are actually engravings of those panels that are on the original. Now, here's the fun piece. This chainmail here that is attached to it, there's a leather holder on the inside. Gotta get that taken care of. There is a leather piece on the inside that holds the mail in. But the thing about this mail that is mind-blowing to me is, again, I don't know if you can see it when I do this up close, but it's riveted. Riveted mail is the mail that they actually use in the Middle Ages because they don't want a sword just bending rings aside, so they riveted the mail. So this guy here has riveted mail. It has all of the seams and all of the ornamentation of the original etched into the stainless. This is a once-in-a-lifetime helm, and I don't care if she doesn't respect me. I'm going to love her still. But yeah, this is an example. This is the other side of the equation. My first helmet that I have down there on the floor, I put a lot of work into, because this one, all I need to do is put the padding in and find a chin strap. I'm not going to put the padding in until I get my arming cap. So when I got the other one prepared, I wanted to talk briefly because I wanted to try to keep this down to 10-15 minutes, but I failed. I want to talk briefly about painting. Now, if you do find the bargain helmet dream, this bad boy came in black, and it was hideous, and I wanted it white because the colors of my heraldry are white and red. Eventually, once I get the rest of it together, and I don't have any more reason to swing a hammer around it, I am going to paint probably here, and I'll be covering up the hole for the rivet for my chin strap. I'm going to paint my coat of arms right here on my, right here actually, on my right cheek plate. One thing I am going to do as well, now that I have it padded and it's fit on my head, you'll notice the curvature of these. They move in, and they move in a little too much for my fat face. So I am going to very carefully bend them out a little bit so it's not touching my cheeks, because I don't want to get smacked in the face and then look like the Joker. But that's really about it. I painted it. I put the padding into it. And again, that was a floor tile. And just as an FYI, that floor tile, I got a pack of 4 for $8. So $2 a piece. I think the Gorilla Glue actually cost me $4 more than the padding did. And I have enough pad left to do probably, including this one, 2 more helmets, because this one's going to take some extra padding. It's a big bastard. But God, is it sexy. Now, as far as painting, that's the last thing I want to cover real quick. If you're going to paint your helm, like this guy here, the paint will never touch this. Some people don't mind having a non-stainless helm that they just take really good care of. If you're new, unless you want to spend your time taking care of a helmet, because I'm not expecting you, or no one else should expect you to buy stainless right off the bat because it's freaking expensive. But if you're going to paint your helmet, I do have a couple tips that I've found to work for me. Other people may argue these points, and that's fine. I don't know everything, but I know what works for me. So what I use when I paint helmets is automobile paint. No, it's not period, but I'm not going to run around looking for powdered things to mix into linseed oil to create paint with. So why do I use automotive paint? Because it's a little bit tougher than normal household paint. It's designed to be on a car. It's designed to be on metal. It is designed to hold up better and take a little bit more of a beating. So let's roll that forward. How do I paint my helms? Well, yeah, I just spray it on. However, once you get down your spray paint technique, there's a couple very important things that not a lot of people do. And I'm just going to stress this. This is how I do it. Number one, you want to scuff your base no matter what you do. If you've already got a primered helm like I got, it was a black primer. I went out and I got some Scotch pads and scuffed the whole thing up. And then I laid on a coat of gray primer. Why change the color of the primer? Because I wanted to paint it white. And black armor is going to take a lot more coats of black armor. Black paint is going to take a lot more coats of paint to do that. So I used a light gray automotive primer. Here's a pro tip, or not pro tip. Here's my tip, because I'm not a pro. My tip is this. Let it dry and cure for a minimum of 24 hours. When I put a coat of paint on, I do not paint over it until I cannot smell it. What does that mean? Well, things that are dry do not emanate fumes. So I sprayed the primer. No, let me rephrase that. Your coats, all right? The first layer of primer, I let sit dry for an hour, put on a second coat of primer. I let that sit on my kitchen counter until I walked in the house and no longer smelled the paint. Then I scuffed it and I painted that SOB again with more primer. After I did that, I did the same thing. I let it sit on my kitchen sink area and sat there until the smell went away. At that point, I put on my white coat. Same thing, 2 coats, let it dry until there's no smell. One of the reasons why this video took so long for me to put together is because I was allowing the paint to dry. Why do I do that? Because people are going to be hitting you in the freaking head. If your paint's not sticking, it's going to come off. I mean, not a big deal, but if you spend time to paint it, you kind of want it to stick around. So I let that dry till I couldn't smell it. Put on another 2 coats, let that dry till I couldn't smell it. So now I am talking of, yes, a total of 8 coats of paint. Some people, I actually had someone tell me, well, that's going to add to the weight. I'm like, dude, if I can tell the difference between 8 coats of paint on a helmet and not 8 coats of paint on, I shouldn't be wearing. I shouldn't be playing. So now, when I got it done, it was very, very shiny. And in all honesty, it looked like a football helmet because it was so damn shiny. I expected to see like Ford logo on it or something. So what I then did, as I had intended from the beginning, was I bought a can of clear satin overcoat. And I did the same thing. 2 coats, let it dry till I couldn't smell it, put on the last 2 coats. Now what that allows me to do is when you get hit in the head, you're going to be hit by a sword that is wrapped in duct tape and should have electrical tape along the edge of it, indicating where the edge is. Well, truth be told, if you get hit hard enough with electrical tape, it will leave a black mark on your helmet. Well, with a clear coat, I can actually clean that off and not have it affect my paint. So there's a method to the madness. So that's how I paint helmets. I spend a lot of time doing it. It took about a week, but I'm happy with the results. Now, where'd it go? The grill itself, I painted on one side. The back side is a little, it basically just has overspray on it. Why? Because I'm lazy. Okay? There, I said it. But the front of it, same type of thing. I've got the satin finish. It is non-glossy, and therefore, to me, looks a little more period. But nobody ever had a grill like this because you get this jab in the eye with a sword. We have these grills because SCA regulations are they don't allow the tips to get that small. So this grill, by the way, is probably one of the prettiest grills I've ever seen. As far as its construction, it is very well made, and I don't know what you probably have to hit this with a sledgehammer to get it to move. And if I ever meet someone who hits me that hard with a piece of rattan, I'm not going to play anymore. So those are the helmets. This is me talking for, good God, almost 40 minutes. And I apologize for that. I will edit out a few minutes. But I wanted to cover helmets probably more in depth than most anything else because of their importance to your safety and because of their importance to the overall kit. And it is the item that once you find one that you love and that you can call your own, it will be your best friend because it's going to keep you from getting brain damage. So I'm going to end it here because I've been talking for a long damn time, and I apologize for that. But my goal is to educate you, and sometimes educating and trying to go over as many facts and ideas as possible takes a while. So next time, I'm probably going to get a little more into gambesons because I am expecting one in the mail. So if I don't go over that, I'll figure something out. Maybe more, package openings that I can actually video and not have the video be eaten by Satan. But yeah, helmets, very important. They're your friend. Take care of them. Wipe them down, clean them after battle. And this one here, I will show it again at some point once I get done with Brasso, because I'm not going to lie, I'm going to Brasso the shit out of this thing until all the brass on this is like frickin' daylight. But if you have the opportunity, jump at it to get something like that, because this is a one-of-a-kind piece. This was commissioned, and I still want to go to an armorer today, or not right now, but you know what I mean, this next year, and show it to him and say, how much would this cost me to have you make it? And when I get that information, I will bring it back. Not because I'm going to say, oh, look how cool I am, but because I want you to understand the level of commitment and dedication that some people have to the SCA and to their persona. And to have something as beautiful as this commissioned, that shows true dedication. It was, like I said, it was purchased from a duke. And to be a duke, you have to have been a king. And he had 3 clusters. And what 3 clusters means is that he was a king 3 times. So the person who owned this prior to the person that I bought it from, he was into it. So, like I said, I have no idea what this would cost to, commission today. But it's astronomical because of the quality and because, just the brass alone. But I hope that you get something out of this. I am going to put chapters in this so you can bounce around a little bit, because if I'm yammering for this goddamn long, you're going to get tired. So just find what you want, use it, and leave a comment. Say, hey, you're windy. Stop it. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Be good to one another. I always say this on my other channel, and that is, don't be a dick, because the world has enough of them. So y'all take care.